Hello, hello. So today's session is all about something that we could all use a little more of, and that is time. So you could be juggling a business, a job, family life, studies, a mixture of those things. So this session, time management for busy people, is designed to help you take back control of your time, and it's not about doing more. It's about doing things better and doing the things that matter. So if you don't know me, I'm Claire. I have a number of businesses, and I'm going to apologise now just in case. I do have, as you can see on there, pet care professional. I do have a dog boarding dog in at the moment who does snore very, very, very loudly. And he's a very small dog, but he does snore very loud. So if you hear that at any point, I just wanted to explain what that is, whether you are watching on the Zoom or watching on the YouTube channel. So yes, I'm multi-business owner. I've been in business for 20 years next month. And you can see some of my areas there on the screen. And as you can see, I'm spinning a few different plates. So people sometimes wonder how I manage my time and manage to kind of get things done for all of those different things. So I'm going to be sharing some things that I use in this session, and I've also spent some time looking into the theory behind time management as well. So I'm going to share that with you as well. So unlike money, once time is spent, you can't earn it back. You can't get it back at all. The average person lives for around 4,000 weeks, which is 680 to 700,000 hours. And time management is the process of organising and planning how you divide your time between activities, and good time management leads to higher productivity as well. And we've all got the same. We've all got 24 hours in a day. Even Beyonce, she's got 24 hours in a day. And it's not about having more time. Time management is about using that time better. And it's, like I say, doing what matters most. So you've got to ask yourself, are you doing things that you truly care about? And is it the things that are going to make a difference to you? And again, as with my previous sessions, I'm not saying that I've got it all figured out time management wise, because I definitely haven't. But it's something I'm working on, and it's something I wanted to share with you. There are techniques that I'm going to share that do really work for me, and things that I've been using for quite some time. So I'm going to talk to you about them. First thing I wanted to talk about is time. It's the time personality. So finding your time personality, and we all approach time a little bit differently. So you've got perfectionists, and they are people that want every task to be done just right. So it will slow them down if they're trying to make everything too perfect. You've got procrastinators who know what they need to do. They know that it needs to be done by a certain time, but they'll keep putting it off, and then they struggle to kind of set priorities, and they struggle to focus on things, and stuff gets done last minute, really. You've got planners. I'm a little bit like this. You get planners who live for to-do lists, colour-coded calendars, routines. It can be really effective, and it does work for some. It works for me. But if you use it too much, it can lead to stress if things don't quite go to plan. And then you've also got the sort of fly by the seat of your pants people. So they're the spontaneous ones that just kind of go with the flow, don't really like structure. They might feel a bit less stressed, but they may also struggle to hit deadlines and achieve long-term goals. Now, none of those are wrong. Different things work for different people, but understanding your time personality can help you find techniques that will work for you, and not just following something because it works for somebody else. As well as those four, we've also got overwhelmed multitaskers. So these are people who try to do multiple tasks at the same time. They believe it's increasing their productivity and their efficiency, and it actually reduces their focus and reduces their productivity. So there's been research done into this, and humans aren't actually multitasking. They're not doing multiple tasks at a time. They are switching between tasks. If you are working on a project and you quickly go to send a text message or an email or something like that, you are actually switching between tasks. And this research has shown that it can reduce your output by up to 40% because your brain is switching backwards and forwards between the different tasks. So it's leading to more mistakes and more stress. So the better approach to it is to focus on one task at a time, give it your full attention, finish it or get it a good chunk of it done, and then move on to the next thing. And that will produce better results. I have got one example that I'm going to talk to you a little bit later on about that could be thought of as multitasking, and it is useful in improving your time management, but I'll speak about that a little bit later on. Then we have got, I'm trying not to flick through the slides too quick because I just skimmed them then when I pressed the button. We've got one of the biggest productivity hacks, and this is about using your energy wisely. So you've got a different energy pattern throughout the day, and everybody's energy pattern is different. You've got different peaks of energy, different sort of troughs of energy as well. So some will find that they hit their peak first thing in the morning. They're absolutely on fire first thing in the morning. Some are more in their stride of an evening or the afternoon or even late at night. But it's learning to work with your own energy and not against it. So when you've got high energy, take on your big demanding tasks. When your energy's dipping, then your lighter tasks, things like admin messages and planning things, whereas your big brain demanding tasks should be when you've got high energy. And it's not about how much time you've got, it's about how you use that energy within that time and match it to the tasks in hand. So ask yourself, when you feel sharpest, when do you feel like you crash and need a bit of a recharge during the day? And everybody does have those peaks and troughs. So put your tasks and jobs into the right part of your day. Just protect your best hours of the day for your most important tasks. Right, then we've got the busy fool and the efficiency lie. Now, this is one of my favourite things, really. It's something that we've spoken about within our businesses for a number of years. So have you ever had a day where you are crazy busy, you feel like you're going 110 miles an hour, ticking things off your to-do list and getting everything done, but then at the end of the day you actually sit down and think, what did I actually accomplish today? That's being a busy fool. You are working hard, you may be being quite efficient as well, but you're not necessarily working on the right things to get to where you want to be. So it's a bit like running on a treadmill when you're actually trying to get somewhere. When you're trying to get to a destination, you're going really fast, but you're not actually moving and getting anywhere. So it's a big difference between being busy and being effective. You can be really efficient and really quick at your low value tasks, things like organising paperwork, replying to every message that you get, scrolling through social media for just a couple of seconds and it ends up being sort of an hour later. These are the things that might make you feel like you're being productive and feel like you're busy, but you're not actually getting anywhere further, if that makes sense. So I can just hear the dog starting to snore. These low value tasks are often the ones that we find easier. They're the ones that we find more enjoyable, but the power comes from focusing on the high impact tasks. So the ones that are actually going to make a difference. Things like working on a project that could be growing your business, making some important phone calls, anything like that. And another example in real life, rather than just based in businesses, is tidying by just moving stuff into different piles, or reorganizing the kitchen drawers before you go and do the food shop, but then not getting around to do the food shop because then you start reorganizing the cupboards as well, and then the fridge, and then you never get round to that food shop because you've been really busy doing all these other things, but you haven't done that important thing of getting the food in. So you need to ask yourself, is this task helping me, or am I just filling time so that I feel productive? So don't be a busy fool. Then we have the Pareto principle. And this, you may have heard of this as the 80-20 rule. So it basically means that 80% of your results comes from 20% of your efforts. So you might have 10 things on a to-do list, but only 2 of them are actually going to move you forward in whatever it is that you're trying to move forward in. It might feel productive, but they're not actually getting you where you want to go. So, for example, in business, you might have 20% of your customers that are bringing in 80% of your sales or your income, or 20% of your posts might get 80% of the engagement. And the trick here is to figure out what those magic 20% of things are and do more of that. So do more of that. So ask yourself, which tasks will have the biggest impact and which am I doing just to fill time or to avoid the hard stuff? That's what a lot of people do. They'll do those little fluffy tasks rather than doing the big ones that they're trying to avoid. And when you start spotting that, you'll stop spinning your wheels and you'll start moving forward. And that's how you stop being busy and start being effective and productive. I did mention this briefly about one of those the time personalities, perfectionism, and this is one of the biggest time wasters out there. We often wait until something is just right before we put it out there to the world or before we take action, but perfect rarely comes. So this is a 70% rule and it's an absolute game changer. So if something feels like it's 70% ready, it is good enough to go. Done is better than perfect, because perfect often means that it never gets finished, it never gets done. We lose time, we lose confidence. So next time you find yourself faffing or tweaking or overthinking something, just stop and ask yourself, is this good enough to move forward? And if it is, then move on. You can always improve it later. Progress over perfection every single time. So now we've had a look at some of the theory behind it. I just want to talk a little bit about some real world tips and techniques that actually do work. And not all of these will apply to everybody, but find ones that work for you. Marvellous snoring. Oh, bless him. Bless his cotton socks. So managing distractions, protecting your focus. So distractions are everywhere. You've got phones pinging, you've got emails going all the time, to-do lists, people, can I just borrow you for a second? Can I just ask you a quick question? Scrolling through Facebook or TikTok or Twitter or wherever, it ends up being 45 minutes. So all these distractions, this is the #1 killer of focus, and focus is where your productivity lives. So you could have a full day planned, you get pulled in 100 directions and poof, your plan has gone out the window. So don't try and eliminate the distractions. That doesn't say get rid of your distractions. It says to manage your distractions. It's impossible to eliminate them. But a few ways that you can... Marvel! Sorry about that. Sounds like he's a pug. It's not like an elephant-sized dog. He's a pug and he's in the other room. Yeah, so you won't eliminate them, but you can create distraction freeze. Could you not hear him? Oh my good God. Honestly, he was so loud. Distraction free zones. So put your phone on do not disturb. Put your emails off so you're not getting notifications. Close all your tabs down. If you work in an office, shut your office door so people are less likely to disturb you. Don't feel like you have to say yes to everybody, and don't feel like you have to reply to everything instantly. They can wait. And I am guilty of this in some situations, and it was making me think about it earlier, because for these calls, I turn my phone and my watch and the computer and everything on to do not disturb and airplane mode so that calls don't come through. Why do I not do that when I'm focusing on a task? I'm constantly like, oh, who's that? Who wants me? When my watch is pinging at me or my phone's going off. So I need to work on that a little bit more as well, and managing those distractions. Know your triggers, so know what it is that distracts you. Is it your phone? Is it a noisy space? Is it trying to multitask? Identify your common distractions, and then you can build boundaries around those because you know what they are. A not to-do list is a great one as well. So your not to-do list is things that you're going to say no to today. So you're going to say no to spending time on social media. You're going to say no to things that are low priority. You're going to say no to these distractions that you are now aware of. And a great tip is to have a distraction pad. So I've got a little notebook, and even if I'm working on something that I'm focused on, this separate notepad is always here on my desk next to me. And if I am working really hard on something, I'm focused on something, I'll think, oh God, I've got to buy some dog food. I forgot about that. I'll write it down so that it doesn't take up space in my brain for the rest of that focus time, keeps my brain clear. Or, oh, I need to reply to that email, or, oh, I never phone my mum back, or whatever it is. Write it down so to take it out your brain and keep on working on your focus. So focus is a skill, and the more you protect it, the sharper it will get. So just ask yourself what you need to do to protect that focus, and a lot of it is these distractions that are pulling you away. So another great tip is the rule of 3. Now, the rule of 3, start of the day, just ask yourself, what 3 things, if I got them done today, would make you feel accomplished, would make you feel like you've achieved, you're happy with your day? So 3 clear focus priorities. It could be cleaning the bathroom. It could be anything, absolutely anything. Painting one of the rooms, painting the ceiling in a room. It could be a work task, absolutely anything. But it gives you focus, and it helps you focus your energy. Like we spoke about your energy dips through the day, it helps you to focus that energy on those 3 tasks. You've not got a massive to-do list, you've not got 27 tabs open in your brain, you've just got those 3 things. It gives you a sense of achievement when you've achieved those 3 as well. And even if your day does go off track, if you've hit those 3, then you've won the day. So that's your rule of 3. And this kind of fits in a little bit, and it goes alongside. It's one of the weirdest names, but most powerful time management tips out there. And it's called Eat That Frog. There's no frogs actually involved. I'm not going to ask you to go out and eat Kermit or anything like that. It's based on a book by Brian Tracy. And it's really simple, but it's really effective. And he says that if the first thing that you do every morning is eat a live frog, then you can go through the rest of the day knowing that that's done. Worst is behind you. It's horrible, but it's done. I'm going to worry about it for the rest of the day. So your frog is your biggest, your most important, or your most dreaded task. So the one thing that that day you're most likely to procrastinate on, or you're going to put it off, or just get it done and get it done first. Instead of avoiding it or pushing it down your list for the day, do it first. Before you check your emails, before you start scrolling, before anything else that day that could derail your focus, get that task out of the way. Everything else will then feel easier. Your day starts with a win, and you won't spend the rest of that day thinking, oh God, I've still got to go and do whatever it is. So tomorrow morning, don't start with your little not meaningless tasks, but your little fluffy tasks. Eat the frog first. Pick not the easy things. The one thing that you don't particularly want to do that day, do it first. It's out the way then. Then we've got Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law is about tasks expanding to fill the time available for completion. So if you give yourself a whole day to do something really simple, you'll take the whole day to do it. You'll faff, you'll overthink, you'll check your emails, you'll check your phone 67 times, you'll phone your mate, you'll watch a couple of episodes of a TV show. It's all right, I've got all day to do it. You'll find things that need doing when they don't, and you'll get this thing done right at the very end of your day. But if you've given yourself 30 minutes to do it, you'll usually get it done in that 30 minutes, because that deadline forces your focus. It might need a little bit more effort in that 30 minutes, but you've then got the rest of the day available. So an example of this is when you get somebody phone, you say, I'll be there in 20 minutes, and you didn't know they were coming over, and you turn into some sort of turbocharged superhero running around the house, cleaning everything up or moving things, and you get it done in 20 minutes, but that task has been hanging over your head for days or weeks. But because you've got that deadline looming, that forced deadline. That's what it is. You create an urgency on purpose. So set a timer. If you think you need 30 minutes to do something, set a timer for 25, because you're giving yourself even more urgency. And pretend everything's due in the next hour, and give yourself that urgency. Once you start applying that, then you'll be amazed how much time you actually get back and find, because you are making things the best. When the assignment's due 2 days before, absolutely. You have my dissertation, I was still working on it. I worked on it throughout the time that I had, but at the end I was still putting finishing touches to it, whereas I could have had it finished weeks before. But at that very end, you kind of get that momentum. But start applying Parkinson's law. Then we've got time blocking. So time blocking is giving your day a bit of a structure. So deciding when you're doing things. So instead of just having a to-do list, you could go, right, between 10 and 11, I am going to focus on cleaning the kitchen. And then between 12 and 1, I am going to catch up on all my messages and life admin and stuff. 3 o'clock, I'm going to have a cuppa and then go and take the dog for a walk. But you've got those time blocks. And once you've smashed a focus block that you've kind of set for yourself, you can build in rewards to it. So it could be going out for a walk, like I just said. It could be an episode of your favourite show. And I do this. This is one that I use. So I will kind of have a big long to-do list for the day. And I'll think, right, that task, that's going to take me about however long. If I do all of that, then I will watch an episode of that afterwards. So I've given myself, I always put a time block in for emergency. Yeah, absolutely. So then I'll give myself like that time to go and watch a TV show or something, give myself that reward. And it's not about being busy all day, it's about using energy on purpose and focusing when it counts, and celebrating the little wins as well. Then we've got the Pomodoro technique. Now, some may have heard of the Pomodoro technique. Now, I've learned something new about the Pomodoro technique today. I know what it is, and I've used it for quite a while, but I now know why it's called Pomodoro. So the Pomodoro technique, hence the picture, Pomodoro is Italian for tomato, apparently. And it was developed by a student, and he used a tomato-shaped kitchen timer, like shown on the screen, to do this when he was in his studies. So pick a task that you want to work on and work on it for 25 minutes. Set a timer. When the timer goes up, no distractions or anything in them 25 minutes, you are focused. When the timer goes off, 5-minute break. Go and get a drink, scroll Facebook, do whatever you fancy. Then go for your next 25 minutes. After you've done 4 of those, you have a longer break of about half an hour. The reason that it's 25 minutes, so the 25 minutes, the science behind it, it isn't long enough. It is long enough to get into the zone, but it's not long enough for you to drift off or start getting too resistant to the task, if that makes sense. So you're not drifting off, you're focused, but it's not for too long. So instead of thinking that you've got to spend hours doing something, you're doing it in short blocks, and you're keeping your brain on the task. Then you've got 5 minutes off it, then you're back on the task again, so that it stops you burning out. And if you're distracted easily, it is a really good one, this one is. Then we have, now this one I've started doing as well. This is the 2-minute rule. Now the 2-minute rule is that easy, it seems obvious, but if something's going to take you less than 2 minutes to do, just do it like now. So not when I finish this other thing, or I've got to do that later. If you've got to wash up a couple of cups, do it. If you've got to take your shoes away, put your shoes upstairs, do it. Take the washing upstairs, do it. Forward an email, do it. These little tasks, and we let them all build up. And if you don't do it now, it builds up and builds up and builds up, and suddenly you've got this big, long, overwhelming list of your things that should take 2 minutes. Doing them immediately gets them out of your brain, clears mental clutter. It saves you time because you're not having to remember that you've got to do that thing that you didn't do that you could have done at the time. And so next time something pops up, if you ask yourself, should I do it now? Or you're thinking, should I do it now? Ask yourself, Is it going to take less than 2 minutes? And if it's yes, then do it. So there are a couple of things that I want to mention because of the other sections that I've mentioned. So if you're doing the time blocking, you can block out a section for a 2-minute blitz. So if you've got a little bit of a list of 2-minute jobs, power through all those little jobs. The only time I would say not to do anything with these 2-minute jobs is during your focus time. So if you are doing that Pomodoro, if you're doing Pomodoro and you're really focused on something for 25 minutes and then you think, oh, I should have put them shoes away, don't do it now. You're taking time out of your Pomodoro. So pop it on your little list that you've got, jot it down for later, and keep your focus time as focus time. But if you can do it in 2 minutes and you're not working on a focus task, just do it. And then this is the one that I was talking about that relates to what some people would say is multitasking. And it's not multitasking, it is task layering. And it's about pairing a mindful task, so something that needs your attention, with a mindless task. So something that doesn't need much thought, but it needs to be done. So instead of wasting time by doing them separately, you can stack your tasks so that you're working them together. So some examples. So listening to or watching a replay of some training or one of these on replay whilst you're folding the washing. Listening to a podcast or an audio book while you're out walking the dog. Watching TV. I do this one, watching TV whilst I'm putting stickers on my brochures. I haven't got to pay attention to, you just stick a sticker on a brochure, but I can pay attention to the TV and stick the stickers. When I'm doing my skincare, thinking about my to-do list or what I'm going to talk about in my next Zoom, what I want to say on a live, making phone calls while you're waiting for somebody, while you're in the car, if you're waiting for the kids to come out of school, catching up on some life admin. It's not about cramming more things in, it's about making routines more productive and putting things together that aren't going to affect each other and finding those little pockets of time where you can do that. So think about where you've got autopilot tasks that you're doing that you can do something else alongside. Those little golden slots are all over the place, and it's just about putting the right two things together. Okay, so we have some key takeaways that hopefully you've taken something away from this session. So I just want you to pick one sort of idea or strategy, not all of them. You're not going to be able to put all of these things together at one time. But start with some small things. Stay consistent with it and be kind to yourself in the process. Time management isn't about squeezing everything in. It's not squeezing more in. It's about making space for what matters and doing things in the right way. So some key takeaways. Identify your time personality type and work with your energy patterns. Don't be a busy fool. Identify tasks that will have the biggest impact. Progress over perfection. Manage distractions and protect your focus. Your 3 priorities each day. Eating that frog. Creating urgency on purpose. Blocking your time. If it's quick, just do it. And layer mindful tasks with mindless tasks. So remember, time doesn't control you. You control how you use it. Now, next week's session is all about turning fear into fuel. How to take doubts and nerves and what ifs and use it to drive you forward instead of holding you back. And that is the 2nd of July, 7:30 p.m. Here are my details. As always, you've got my email address, my Facebook profile and my Facebook page. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel too. Drop me a like and a comment on there as well. It'd be much appreciated. So thanks for showing up. It is the most important step to your time management is showing up to something like this and finding out some techniques that you can use. So go and protect your time like the treasure that it is and keep the good vibes flowing. Anything that you need, just give me a shout. Thanks for now. Bye-bye.